And if we have technical difficulties, I'll just let you know, and we'll just work through it.
Okay.
All right. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Welcome to our viewers. It's another installment of the world famous Stories at Sundown. I'm Mac McCullough. I'm with Willard Library, and my guest today is Battle Creek artist Teaira Gray. Teaira just finished up, and we're going to look at some of her art today. She was in her first Color of the Creek, which just wrapped up this past week. We talk a little bit about that. She's a Battle Creek native, Lakeview High School graduate, 2017. Unlike what I said in my initial post, 2020, even younger than I thought, but still pretty young. Tiara, welcome.
Hi. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, it's great to have you. In full disclosure, I met Tiara because she makes a mean gold fashion, among other drinks, at, at Cafe Rica. And I had interviewed her colleague, Hannah, who was on a few weeks ago, and got to know Tiara and wanted to bring her on because I'm always interested in how artists are making their way in Battle Creek. So, Tiara, how are you making your way in Battle Creek? But no, let's that's further on. Let's talk about when did you first realize that you wanted to make art?
Well, so recently I actually reconnected with an old teacher of mine from when I was in elementary school. um, and at that, her name is like, we'll say Lori. And I saw her drawing a carriage one day after school, and I was like, whoa. And then I tried to draw. It was nothing as spectacular as hers. But I was so enchanted by it that I was like, oh, I want to draw just as good as she does. And so I
Wow.
went and told my grandpa I want to be a cartoonist. I don't want to be a cartoonist anymore, but I still like to draw. And yeah, I've just been doing it ever since then.
Wow. I'm sorry, what year of school was that?
Oh, I want to say third grade.
Oh my.
Yeah, third grade.
Well, that's what you call, following your dream early, right?
Mhm.
So, okay, so third grade, you knew you wanted to draw. But when did it start to dawn on you that this was, being an artist was more than just drawing? This was a calling. This was something I hoped to make a living at.
Wow. Um, I want to say that feels more recent, that feeling.
Yeah.
Because before it was like, oh, I do as a hobby. I'm not that good, but I like to be good. And then I just kept doing it and doing it. And um, to be honest, at my most recent art show, I was at a convention in Kalamazoo, and everyone was like, "Do you do this as a living and all that?" And I'm like, "No, but I'd love to." And so now I'm really trying to make steps towards that. Like I want to buy a printer so I can start making stuff from home and all of that. So people say you can do it on TikTok. Maybe I can do it.
But you did get some, formal education. You took
Mhm.
classes in this in high school.
Yeah.
You studied at Western for a bit and KCC, did you not?
Yeah, I went to Western for band. I thought I might find something like just to try it out, the big like university life. That was too much for me. But being at KCC and going through photography and the whole arts department, I feel like I've really found my calling and like what I really find passionate. It's just creating art.
Yeah, yeah. And you've got people from the Cafe Rica fam checking in saying, hey.
Hi.
And anybody out there watching, by all means, feel free to chime in, ask questions, point out anything you want. Um, so as you really started to explore art, who are some of the influences that have really inspired you? And they can be artists or they can be other people.
Um, Art wise, I would say um, Miyazaki, his films, they're like Ghibli films. I did my most recent mural, um, like inspired by his work. Just watching that growing up, I was really like enchanted by it. I I would have the theme songs playing like at the title screen of the videos because I'd rent them from the library all the time.
Huh.
It felt like I owned them. It was so bad. But I would just like listen to them all the time. I'd watch them all the time. You'd think I know it by heart. Um and my grandma really liked to draw and do art. A lot of people in my family did, but they never like pursued it. So I just figured why not me?
Yeah, yeah. And so, what inspires you in your work? I mean, what motivates you?
Um I notice I like to use a lot of color. I really like color. That's weird to say, but just like all kinds. My favorite thing to look at is the sky at all times of day because it's just, I don't know, it's like a whole different world. And I kind of made a series about that with like the evolutions of me. The sky was a big like marker for all of those.
Hmm.
It's kind of how I remember passages of time, if that makes sense. Like
Hmm.
a lot of the time, I'm looking outside my window and seeing whatever's going on.
And Hannah likes your headphones.
Things.
They are really cool. And we're gonna get to show some of that, some of that art in your most recent. In fact, why don't we go ahead and put these back on, or back put them up, so we make sure that you have time to share a little bit about them. And I just love this one. There it
That
is.
one's my favorite too.
Yeah. And so tell us about the title.
So I had completely changed what I was gonna do for this mural. Before it was gonna be like a balloon being held by a fist, and it had two faces on it, and it was like representing how people are held together. I had done it once a long time ago when I first entered in KCC's like art show when my grandma used to work there. I was also like fifth grade, and it was kind of like a rendition of that, but I decided I didn't want to put that on the wall because I wasn't feeling it. And I had talked to one of the regulars at my job, Tammy, and she said that I should just do something that really calls to me, even if it's just a pretty picture, because that's all I wanted to see was a pretty picture.
Hmm.
And my friend had said something like, um, life sucks, keep going, keep growing. And so I was thinking about all the stuff that I liked or used to help me when life sucked. And a lot of this, the Miyazaki films, the Ghibli films, they were they were what I watched when life sucked. And so I wanted to do kind of an inspiration, like tribute to him.
Uh huh.
And so I did a scene that was similar and then included some of my favorite movies.
And Tristan has a question. What film is it from?
Um, so the little guys in the bottom right, they're from My Neighbor Totoro. The dragon in the top right is from Spirited Away. The whole scene composition, I'm pretty sure, is from The Wind Rises. And then the pink flowers are from Howl's Moving Castle. So it's a bunch of different movies that I really liked.
Does he give you a hard time at work too?
Yeah, I know my Spirited Away. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and I mean, the title kind of. And where can folks see this right now?
Oh, it's on 60th Calhoun. It's on the brick building on the other side of it.
Okay. And this was all part of the Color of the Creek that wrapped up on Sunday. Is that right? Did I?
Yeah, I think they finished painting the creek on
They
Sunday.
finished painting the creek on Sunday. Yeah, and there's some great art. I love that in Millrace Park, the creek.
Yeah,
That's
it
really
looks
cool.
cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Mhm.
I mean, and so I mean, that jumping to a question I had. I mean, what's it? How would you describe the art scene in Battle Creek?
Mm. Um, I would describe it as growing, definitely growing. Before, I had no idea there were so many artists in Battle Creek, and definitely I didn't know who they were. And now that I've participated, now that I'm seeing everybody, and we did that whole festival, which we really needed,
Yeah,
I it's so much more. Like, I'm not sure if they're doing more at the art gallery, but I hope that we can incorporate some more stuff there because I feel like for people forget about it.
yeah, yeah. Well, it seems like you say. I mean, it's not necessarily. Well, I guess what I wanted to say is what you said. There's a lot more artists who are working at their craft and trying to make their way in Battle Creek than people might otherwise think. I mean,
Mm.
what kind of support is there? Is it something you really have to build yourself? Are the things that aspiring artists who maybe the version of you who is in a teenager now, how where would they go?
Mm. Um, what I've learned, because I started doing all of this just like by myself. I stream or I do commissions online. Um, Talking with people around here and just getting to know people is the way you go.
Yeah.
Just getting to know everybody. Like, I had no idea there were so many artists. There's a ton. There's a ton. You meet them at school. Some of the people you just don't talk to at school,
Hmm.
just everywhere.
Yeah. So there's a real another one, and this is part of the series, "The Evolution of Me." Is that correct?
Hmm. So this one is a shot outside of my room. This is like what I look at a lot of the time. The sky is usually different all the time. Um, but I just, it's hard for me to remember the way things look, and I forget faces a lot. So this is just something that I can always remember, even though like I can't picture it in my head.
Uh huh.
It's just something really close to me.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful. Is that a sunrise?
Mm, I can't tell if it's a sunrise or a sunset. That's what I like about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, I pictured a sunset, so I'm the audience. I get to decide.
Yes, that's all up to you.
Um, so I mean, it's a good point or a good time to talk about the mediums you use, and in this one, it's kind of a combination.
Hmm. So this was part of a test also, this whole series, because I wanted to see if I could do it. I had I was trying to figure out during my art seminar class how I could combine photography and painting. And
Hmm.
I was like, well, why don't I just paint on the photo? So I printed this one out on canvas, and then I did two others that I sold, the price per gallon and the tea house one. Those were done on photo prints, the silver gelatin prints where you develop and all of that. This
Hmm.
one was just printed on a big piece of paper, canvas paper. And I used my acrylic gouache, which is it's kind of hard to find because it's acrylic and gouache mixed together. Only one or two companies really make them, so I was waiting for that to come in, and then I tried that and it stuck on the paper. That was the goal. And so I just decided to try it out. I want to like continue with this medium and like keep working with it because usually I just do them separate.
Yeah.
But I'd like to explore this more. I usually paint with gouache or acrylic gouache. I guess sometimes acrylics when I'm doing murals, but other than that, I try to keep to those two.
Wow. Well, it's gorgeous. And this is
Water.
called watercolor paper, right?
Mm-hmm. This one was inspired by Georgia O'Keeffe. I was doing like my own version of her style, and I just drew the skull, painted it. I really liked it. It looks cool.
I think it looks really cool too. And when we were getting acquainted, you said that watercolor is the one that's hardest for you right now of what you're doing.
Yeah, it's so freeform. Physics really takes over, and I'm just not good at it. But I'm working on it. Working on it.
Physics takes over. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it looks really, it doesn't look like, at least not on this one, it doesn't look like you're struggling at all. And let's see what else. This is another one of those mixed mediums. Um,
hmm
what was the inspiration for this?
Um, this I had mentioned that I had done band. I was in color guard a lot.
Yeah,
And this wasn't the field that I've performed on this field before, but not through Battle Creek Central.
yeah,
But being on the field, you get the same like emotion and energy. And I was just watching them perform while my friend taught the drum line. But this is a place that I hold dear to my heart. Uh, just recently, every year, because I was in Bronco band, we all change our profile pictures on Facebook and stuff to when we were in band to help celebrate. And so this was just a part of like an evolution of me. And the sky, I remember exactly how the sky looked that day. It was so pretty with the pink clouds and the blue,
yeah.
and I just love it.
Well, you know what I love about what you do here is, I mean, you can recognize as the viewer that it's a photograph, and you can recognize that you're painting. Um, and I really feel like I'm there
Oh,
in,
great.
in a way that I don't think that I would have felt. Even with a photograph. I mean, a photograph, you're still at an objective distance, but this just makes you feel like you're right there.
I'm glad that you get that feeling. That was the goal.
Good. Good. Yeah, price per gallon. I this really, and viewers. I mean, Tiara sent me her portfolio, which is streaming across the ticker below, so you can go look at all of her stuff. But she left me to pick the ones that I wanted to throw up. So that's what I'm doing here. And this one just struck me from the. Now that's got to be a sunset.
That one is a
Okay.
sunset. I love this one. This was also me testing to see if I could just paint on the print itself, which I find I prefer a lot more. It just has a lot more sentiment because I took the time to develop it and put it on the paper and size it and all of that. It's very like I put my heart and soul into it.
So how
And
much time would you spend on, say, something like this? How much time?
ooh, um, this shooting it and developing the film and all of that and painting, I'd say 20 hours.
Wow,
20 hours. Yeah, it's a long process.
it is a long process. So if you were quantifying your time, you're probably not making a profit, even though you've sold a couple of them so far.
No. No.
But
In my heart,
still,
I am.
in your heart, you are. Well, and every time you get something out that broadens your audience and increases your opportunity. I mean, you described being pretty surprised when you sold your first pieces.
I just, they're just things that I enjoy doing. So I even mentioned I have like a weird attachment to them because I'm like, oh, these are like my babies. They're going off into the world to somebody else. But yeah, I just, it's nice to know that people like my work as much as I like my work.
Yeah. Now this is citrus,
Mm-hmm. I love this one.
and
It's
this
fun.
this is acrylic wash.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This was for Cafe Soul along with two others.
I'm trying to get back because there's a comment on the screen that I want to put up. Sometimes technology is my friend, and sometimes it's not. You ever have that feeling?
I definitely do. Oh,
Yeah, I agree with Emily. The pinks, the indigos, blues against the sturdier colors beneath. Yeah,
oh, wow, that was a beautiful message. Thank you.
that's my cousin. Um, let's see what, and I wanted to talk, and this is a good segue because I think next is your photograph series, self
Mhm.
destruction, and I don't know an artist who hasn't been deeply affected by what we've been through the past year. Oh no, we have another banner. I apologize. Um, this was this banner was where the apartments are off of Dickman near Riverside,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And that was one of the ones that was vandalized.
Yeah. It sucked because they painted all of it white, and I was like, "Come on, man!" It took too long to make, but I was happy I got to redo it, and everybody helped. It was amazing. The whole community came out to scrub it, and my friend Hannah, her mom, like made stickers of them working on this one, and I was like, "Wow, I'm so happy I got to meet the people who helped rub it down, help me fix it."
Well, that was an amazing response from the community too. When
Mhm.
that happened, I mean, it was really a very resolute, quick assembly of folks to put it back to make things right.
Mhm.
I mean, that's got to make you feel good as an artist in a community.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah. So now I'm pretty sure the next one there. Yeah, self destruction.
Mhm.
Why don't you talk a little bit about this series? What inspired it? What you were feeling at the time?
So at the time I um so this was like after I got kicked out of my house and I lived in another crazy situation. I just like I I witnessed people being at their lowest lows, and it really affected me because I was like, wow, it's so like self-destructive, these things that they're doing. And I feel like everybody's felt that way at some point where they're just like, they're not doing it. And I wanted to display that and show that in a series of photographs. At the time, I was doing 4x5 film, and then school shut down, so I had to switch it to like digital, but I still wanted to keep the same small image to preserve the intimacy of how dark the genre was.
Yeah,
And people are self destructive in ways that are like obvious and ways that aren't very obvious, and you can't really tell, but it's all the same. It's all sad.
yeah, yeah. Do you fight those impulses in yourself?
These pictures aren't all things that I have done, and well, yeah, I depicted it, but um I feel, I guess, self-destructive in a way where like, oh, I'm not having a good day, I'm gonna stay
Yeah,
inside all day, but never to the point of these lows. But I
yeah,
know people who have, and I've lost people who have,
yeah.
and so it's just a lot.
And and I wasn't meant to put you on the spot
Oh, no,
because
no, you're good.
I think we all have that. Sometimes more subtle ways, but um,
Mhm.
And you really you get the sense of desperation. And I mean, what were you feeling when you were developing these? I don't know. You weren't developing them. You mentioned the word film before, and so I
Mhm. No,
what's
no.
film?
um, like this one was depression, and I I don't know, thinking about it all and like thinking about the things that like I had seen people I was close to go through and how they probably felt. I just was trying to put myself in their shoes a lot
Yeah,
of the time, and I don't know, this it probably feels like two different things. Like you're fine on one side and on the other you're clinging.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. This one, people are self-destructive by drinking, um, alcohol abuse,
Yeah,
binging.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love the composition of this.
Mm. This one was kind of hard to get. I was peering through a door crack trying to focus. But,
Yeah,
um, wow.
those are gorgeous. And again, folks, you can see them on the portfolio site that's streaming across right there. Um, so, what is important to you as an artist, Tiara?
Hmm. That is something that I still kind of struggle with telling myself what's important and what's not important when I'm making art. Like for the mural, I was thinking, what does everybody want to see in Battle Creek? What does Battle Creek need to see? Um, but all in all, I need to remember, what do I want to see and how do I feel? Because no one else is going to make it but me. So if I don't like it, then how are they going to like it? Kind of like, how can you love somebody else if you can't love yourself?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. And so, as I mentioned before, I mean, we've all been through a thing this
mhm,
past year, kind of together. But we're
yeah,
always going through things too. Um, have you seen, but been going through that? Have you seen your art take kind of a bigger leap over the past year and a half, 2 years?
yeah, definitely. I wasn't as expressive before, but after doing that self destruction series, I have realized like there's a lot to me that I want to show everybody, and what better way to do that than through my art? And yeah, I'm doing a lot better. I'm proud.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And one other question I wanted to ask: we talked about this as well about the challenges and the opportunities of being an artist, an emerging artist, let's say, um, at least a young artist in a small city. Um, and yet you're committed here. You see the downsides, but you I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you
Yeah,
love it here.
I do love being in Battle Creek. It's definitely like a small town, and there's not a lot to do right now. But I remember when I was younger when there was a lot to do and there was so much, and I loved doing everything about Battle Creek. Like we made cereal. It's so cool. There's so much to us that I feel like we've forgotten as a community, but we're trying to get back. And I don't know, I want to be a part of that. That's why I love working downtown. They're just as involved in the community as I want to be.
Yeah,
And I'm buying a house and people were like, "You're staying here?" And I'm like, "Well, why not?" It's pretty nice. It's good. It's my hometown. I love this place.
well, we're glad you're here. Tiara, thank you so much for joining me this evening. It was a real treat. I love being able to show your art. And yes, viewers, please go to that still in under construction to some degree portfolio
Yeah.
site. Um, you'll see some placeholder text there, but the art is absolutely gorgeous. And I didn't notice uh, on the site, is there information about where people might be able to buy some of your pieces? And I know that you've had them for sale at the cafe too.
Yeah, I have a contact form on my site that you can fill out and just let me know if you're interested in getting a commission for yourself or for someone else or one of the pieces that I've made.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and stick around, Tiara, as soon as we sign off, and we'll talk afterwards. Folks, next week, Kim Langridge, who is the co-president of BC Pride, she's going to be joining us, and really looking forward to a conversation with Kim. Maybe you may have know her story, but if those of you don't, you're going to be, I think, surprised and inspired, maybe saddened a little bit, but also see the redemption that she's experiencing now. So, thank you, and everybody have a good evening.